Okay, so we're going to get started here. I just want to show you this is a 2000 gigabyte drive, or a 2 terabyte drive, and this is in my OG Xbox One. And right now I have it formatted using my old process where I took a 500 gigabyte drive, cloned it, and then used GParted to stretch it out to 1.7 terabytes that you see there. And so we're going to shut this down, and we're going to take the drive out. Give this a second to stop, and then we're going to hook it up here. I have my Windows 10 system here, and we have this little USB adapter that we're going to hook up. Back to here, let me disconnect it here, and then we'll reconnect it. So let's see if we can do all this. In fact, let me put the camera down here. Well, here, I might be able to do this one-handed. Let's give it a try. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take our drive over here, and it might be easier to flip it around this way. First, we're going to get the power here. So here we are in our Windows 10 system here. Just to show you what version of Windows 10 I'm running at the time here. We'll open WinVer, and you can see here, in the upper corner, we're running 1607, the July 2016 version of Windows 10. And I put a bunch of icons here in the center to pretty much show you most of the tools that we're going to be using here. In fact, we're not going to be using, this might be a little clearer here. These are all freeware tools that I use often, but they aren't necessarily related to this process here, but things that you might want to be aware of. I'm always open for people suggesting new pieces of software to use, so I figured I'd point those out. But for the most part, here are all the tools that we're going to be using for the process of formatting an Xbox One drive. We won't be using this. This is for the next video, the Linux video. And we won't be using this here either, because I'll show you in a moment, but I have the drive that I'm going to use in the Xbox One system hooked up via USB, and the C tools for Windows only works against SATA drives. So anyways, the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to download the script I showed you in the earlier video. And that's the Xbox One HD master script here. You see it takes a second. We're going to download it, and we are going to say save file, and it's should put that into our downloads directory, and I'll show you that here. I made a shortcut here to the downloads directory so we can get there a little faster, but here's our Windows and or Linux partitioning scripts, and we're going to want to extract it. We're just going to say extract here, and it's going to extract the contents of that, which will make this directory here, which we are then going to drag and move to the desktop here. Okay, and the other thing to show you here is our osu1.zip. This is something you're going to want to download as well. So basically, these scripts here are important, and I'm going to click here, and here's our link. Again, I'll have all the links in the description of this video. But this is another thing we'd want to download. I'm not going to do this now because I've already done it, and it takes a while to download. You can see it's a 3.5 gigabyte file. A lot of people have said to me they've had trouble downloading the file, and it is a big file, but it's definitely something you're going to need. And that's this guy here. And we'll do the same thing with this as well. We'll go to 7-zip, and we'll say extract here. And when we do that, it'll create this directory here. So I'm going to skip that again to save time. And at the time that I'm making this video, the particular OSU1 update I'm dealing with here is from May 13th. Okay. But after we've extracted this, we're going to want to put this onto a flash drive. So I have my flash drive currently hooked up as an F drive here, and basically you want to format your flash drive as NTFS, and then you're going to want to drag this onto the NTFS drive. Now again, I'm going to skip this step 2 because I've already copied these files onto the flash drive. If we go into the flash drive here, we can see they're all the files are dated the same. But what you saw there is what you'd want to do, just drag that to your flash drive. And so we have the 2 components that we need to download, this guy here, and we put our stuff onto our flash drive there. There's something more you can do with these system update files as well, and I'll show you that after we format our drive. So the next thing we're going to want to do here is open an administrative command prompt. So again, I have a shortcut on my desktop here, but you could do, you could type CMD here, and then right click this and say run as administrator. But this is a very important step, so you want to run the command line as administrator. Okay, and we're going to want to type CD, in this case just desktop. Something worthwhile pointing out here is all the steps I'm showing you here. If you go into the scripts that you downloaded, in the Windows directory there's a readme_windows.txt, and down here it talks about unzipping to the desktop, then opening administrator command prompt, tells you how to do that, and then you want to CD to the desktop, and I'll show you the rest of that in a moment here. The same is true in the Linux directory. There's a readme Linux file that you can use to how to use the Linux script, which I'll show you in the next video, those details. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is CD to Xbox Master /win, hit enter. I'm just going to do a dir here just so you can see what's in the directory. And I just wanted to make this quick edit. This is something that I noticed earlier in the video that I wanted to correct, so you could see this actually how it's supposed to work. When you want to open a command prompt as administrator, it should come up with this window if you have the right stuff enabled, and then it doesn't, instead of taking you to the actual user's home directory, it takes you to Windows System 32 instead. So let me just edit that here. Desktop Xbox Master Win. Okay, so the only thing you'd want to change here is the username that you're using for your particular system, and you hit enter on that, and then do a dir. But the next step is to actually run the script, so we're gonna run this right here, hit enter. It's going to tell you to use this script at your own risk because it is going to destroy the contents of whatever drive you specify. So just be aware of that. Make sure you don't care about the contents. But this script also supports, basically if you are using a language other than English, this script supports changing your language temporarily while the script's running to English. That's a new feature of version 5 of the script as well. All the earlier versions didn't have that. So you're going to press any key, and that's what it's actually doing now. It's hard to see because it's going by really fast, but I have 2 languages installed here. I have Portuguese Brazilian and Portuguese Portugal. It's changing those other languages to temporarily point to the English command line versions of those tools. Okay, on this particular system I actually have a media reader, an SD card media reader, compact flash and all that, which is why there's a bunch of this no media things here. But in our case, this is the guy that we're looking for here. So we're going to say, we're going to select 7. And this disk was already formatted using my older method. So this is a 2 terabyte drive. And you can see here it's 1763. So you'll actually see, if you pay attention to this at the end, there's 2 things that are going to change here. One is this is going to be smaller because the official Xbox One 2 terabyte drive is smaller than what I was doing in the past. And also this GUID, this is the 500 gigabyte GUID. You're going to see that change as well. So we're going to say continue, yes. And this menu is a little shorter than it was in the past. Basically, B, C, and D will create all official 500 gigabyte, 1 terabyte, or 2 terabyte. I left the auto size here but this won't necessarily, in fact, this will create a 500 gigabyte drive, but it'll use up all the space on whatever drive you have connected. So basically the A option here uses the older method for formatting a drive. So most people aren't going to want to pick A, but if you have a weird 1.5 terabyte drive or something, you might want to select that. But for the most part, you would almost always want to use B, C, and D. So in this case, we're going to use D because we have a 2 terabyte drive attached. And it opens, this is somewhat new here as well. It's opening a window while it's letting the formatting stuff kind of happen in the background. And at this point, you don't want to touch anything. You want to let the script run its course until it prompts you to do something. Okay, and it just it's going to display a few different things, but just be patient. Okay, we're just about done here. So as I pointed out, you can see the V drive here, the user content partition is smaller. Instead of being 17, I forget it was before, but now it's 1662, but this is the official size. And the GUID has also been modified to be an official 2 terabyte drive. So the last thing it'll say, it's complete. Now it's going to change the command line back to the default language. So we're going to just hit a space bar there and let that run through. Okay, and the script is done. One other thing I wanted to point out is when the script is done, just figure this is worth mentioning, you want to see this output with the proper GUIDs. You don't want to see any errors in between any of these things. Sometimes you'll see an error like it'll say that one of the partitions needs to be formatted or something like that. If that's the case, redo this process again and make sure that it comes out clean like this. It might say 500 gigabyte here or 1 terabyte, but this is a sign that everything went okay. If you see anything other than this, or there's some error messages in between, that's not a good thing. And the other thing to mention here is, so on my system here, I have, well, I had other languages installed, I guess under a different account, so it doesn't show them here. I've done some testing on that. I might do a separate video just on the multiple language support. If people still have issues with the multiple languages, let me know. But it's important that at the very least you have this language here installed. I had, let's see here, Portuguese installed. Let's see, where is it? So I'll put Brazil here. Yeah. Let's see if I can actually select it. Yeah. So at this point I can make this default language. So I might do a separate video on this. So let's say this may be your default. You just want to make sure you have this as well. And this is in the control panel, all control panel items, language. Anyways, just a quick point. So the idea is the script should function now on non-English systems, but I haven't tested that too extensively. I've tested that on this system and one other Windows 10 system, but I haven't done that extensively, and not in a real world where people are actually using systems that have don't have English on there at all. I'm not sure that every system does have English on it. But anyways, I guess the point is, if you do need to add it, you could do add, and you could say English, and you could select this, and you'd want to install this in order for this script to work properly. Okay, anyways, I've talked about that enough. So now this is complete. Now the one other step I'm going to do, you're safe to close all these things because it is now formatted. So one more thing I'm going to show you, and this is something that I suggest you don't bother with because you've already put the OSU1 stuff here, the system update, on your flash drive. But I'm going to try it here just to see if there's a chance that this still works. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click Downloads, and here's my system update. So I'm going to do a select all on everything here. In fact, I'm going to delete this log. I actually had that held over from an update I did from a flash drive. But we're going to copy everything here in the system update folder itself. I'm going to say copy. I'm going to go to this PC and we're going to look for our system update, so the X drive here, and we're going to create a new folder called A and another folder called B. The only reason why I'm doing this is because I haven't had a lot of success with this lately, but every once in a while someone tells me that they do this and they don't need to use the flash drive at all, which can be convenient. So we'll give it one more try here. So this is also in the README file along with the scripts. This can take a little bit to complete. Okay, there we go. Now again, this is optional, so don't feel like you have to do this. So we're going to cut the updater.xvd out, and we're going to put it here in the outside of the A and B folder. And then we're going to copy all these files again. So we're going to put the same files basically in A and B. So we're just about done there. This took a few minutes, so I just cut away to save some time. All right, so now A and B have the same files. Okay, so that's it. So again, I'm going to keep saying this. This is an optional step. You don't need to do this. If you have a flash drive with the system update on it, you can skip that step completely. This is just kind of an experiment I'm doing as we're going along here. So we have our flash drive formatted as NTFS and has the system update on it, and then we have the our formatted 2 terabyte drive. So we're going to eject both these. So first we're going to do the flash drive, so it's safe to remove, and then we're going to do the USB drive. There we go. Okay. And we'll basically unplug that. Now here's our drive here in front of us. We're going to disconnect it from our Windows machine here, and we'll show this process over here. So we have our OG Xbox One here. Sorry, the mount I have my camera on is not the steadiest thing right now. There we go. Okay. All right. So we'll switch here, display over to HDMI 2, and we'll power this up here. See what we get here. Okay, so it took a longer than normal time to boot up. Let's see what we got here. But it did boot, which is interesting because it's a blank drive, and putting the A and B stuff on there seemed to do the trick. So it's seeing some games that are installed which aren't installed, which of course isn't good, but I'm we're going to go here to look at our settings here, look at our drive sizes. Now we can see that it's got 1.6 terabytes there, which is good. Okay, so the thing to see here is if we can reset it and have it come up like it's supposed to come up. So I didn't need the flash drive to get this running, but again, this is the older system here. So in the old method, you couldn't do a reset and have it survive. So let's see what happens if we try to do that. So we're going to go to console info. We're going to do reset console, and we're going to tell it I'm going to tell it reset and remove everything, because there isn't anything on there, so that seems to be the best way to go here. But let's see. A lot of times when I do that, there we go. Okay, so we said reset and remove everything, so let's see what happens. So it should maybe reboot once or twice. Let's see if I can catch that in action here. See what it's doing here. Okay, so it's preparing the console. Rebooted. So it's definitely when it does its partition updating. Now so far, again, we've been doing all this without using a flash drive. Let's see if we can keep that up. Okay, there we go. So I got my controller here, syncing it up. And I'm going to show you everything. Connected network, great. United States. And I'll go out to the internet, see if we have an update. Hopefully not. I think that was still the latest OSU 1. Eastern time, adjusted data savings, it's fine. I like to always use energy saving personally, and then I turn these two things off. It's up to you what you want to do there. So now I got to add my account. So I'm going to cut away for a second to add my account. I generally don't like to include that in the videos. But yeah, so I'm going to cut away, add my account, and then come back. Okay, we're back. So I got my account added. So we're going to finish the whole process here. If you see any blurring out of things, again, I just usually do that to keep my account out of these videos. Oh, if I have any, that's some sound there. So I'm going to say go home. Okay, so the thing to check here will be, here, let me put that down so I don't have to blur out absolutely everything here. I'm just going to go down a little bit. All settings. And so the moment of truth will be the storage. So let's see if we are still a 1.6, and looks like we are. That's a 2 terabyte drive that we reformatted completely, threw the update on it, and rebuilt it. So basically the process that Juvenile created back in basically the month that the Xbox One was released does work. So you format the drive, you just have to have all the right GUID values and everything on there, which is not something that Juvenile had at the time. And I did look it up, by the way, so it was August of 2016 that the first real 2 terabyte Xbox One drives were created, and that's what this is based upon. So anyway, so there you go. So I guess the last thing to do is go over here to my game and apps, and then see, ready to install. So right now I have nothing installed, as you would expect, but here are all my stuff ready to install. So I guess the final test might be to actually try to install a game and play it. So I'd have to pick something kind of small. So maybe we'll do Pac-Man. I have a really slow connection here, so this takes forever, but let's see how long. What I might do is just cut away to when the games here are finished. Okay, so we're just about done the download process. I just want to mention that we're going to try this game out, and if it loads, then we will we'll stop the video here. I just want to mention that in the Linux video, I will not make the A and B folders on the system update partition, so that that should force an E106 error and then force me to use the OSU1 from a flash drive. So you'll get to see both cases there of creating the folders versus, so here we're gonna hold the thing, we'll launch the game. I don't foresee any issue here, but if you do have a problem with the drive not being created correctly, a lot of times games won't load. As you can see, this seems to be loading just fine. Should sync my account here. There we go. And you can see the game loads up just fine. So there you go. All right, so I will I'll do this whole process again using Linux next time. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.